Israeli fighter jets struck 9 Hamas targets this morning in response to Hamas arson attacks and those explosive balloons that have recently been launched into Israel. Thanks for tuning in for your daily dose. Right before that overnight IDF attack, Palestinians fired 3 rockets at southern Israel from inside the Strip. The IDF says 2 rockets landed inside Israel. A 3rd fell short, landing within Gaza. A short time ago, we heard from Israel's defense minister.
Regarding the events in the south, if anyone thinks he can continue the routine of daily kite terrorism and fires, he is wrong.
And new developments a few hours ago, Palestinian media reporting that a 24-year-old man shot and killed by the IDF and 5 other Gazans have just been seriously wounded in a separate incident involving a homemade explosive. Joining me in studio, I have Mohammed Al-Qasim, our senior Middle East correspondent, to talk about regional issues. But first, let's go to the border with our Shai Ben-Ari, where tensions are high. Shai, give us an update. What has happened already today?
Right, we're talking about a serious security incident here on the Israel-Gaza border, all this within the past 2 hours or so. We're very close to the Karni crossing where this is believed to have happened. The IDF saying that a certain security infrastructure was tampered with by 5 terrorists, as they called them, coming from the Gaza Strip, tampering with this security infrastructure that then exploded. 5 Palestinians harmed in this incident. We understand that this is not necessarily a separate incident from the same one being reported inside Gaza, in which a certain Palestinian has been killed. Sabri Abu Khder, a 24-year-old Gazan, dying as a result of this incident. There are indeed reports of others injured. The IDF speaking of 5 overall harmed in this incident, a fairly serious one. Right now, it's fairly quiet here where we are, and this is more or less where this incident took place. About an hour ago, we were hearing gunshots, possibly warning shots, actually, in the area, but since then it has quieted down. In general, of course, the issues in the headlines have been the ongoing launchings of flaming balloons and kites from within Gaza towards Israeli territory, with the Israeli army stepping it up in terms of efforts to counter that overnight, hitting different Hamas targets. 9 military targets hit as a result of this in an effort to deter Hamas. We were able to speak to one of the local residents of this area who actually had one of these explosive balloons land in his yard. Let's hear what he told us about the way he sees the IDF response and what has to be done in the future.
In my opinion, the decision has to be made. Whoever flies a helium balloon or any other device has to be personally harmed. It doesn't matter who or what.
Shai, the fact that apparently Hamas launched several rockets towards Israel, that breaks a more than 2-week kind of truce here. Explain the rocket threat. Is that back on the forefront for the IDF?
Right. The rockets came, as we understand, probably in response to the IDF airstrikes, which actually took place before that. The airstrikes themselves were in response to the flaming balloons, which continued to be launched. And then as these strikes were still ongoing, we understand there were 3 cases of rockets launched towards Israel. This may be something of a new price that Hamas wants to place up on the board for any case of, or for any use of Israeli airstrikes against targets in Gaza. They may want to make the case that any kind of use of that kind of tactic will result in rocket fire towards Israel, signaling that they aren't willing to let these kinds of IDF airstrikes go on unresponded. We'll see if it continues to develop that way, or if we'll see actually things start to quiet down.